going on, everyone? This is Mitch with SC Weather. Hope y'all been having a great day. Hope y'all have had a great weekend. I feel like it just started, but apparently it's already over. So that's that. And so as we work into the work week, it looks like severe weather is going to be a hot topic, especially as we get into Tuesday and Wednesday. After that, it's kind of a little bit unknown, a little uncertain, and even Tuesday night into Wednesday is still uncertain. It looks like the models really latched on to this idea of severe weather. Heck, Tuesday of last week, Monday or Tuesday of last week, and it's held on to it, but it really hasn't increased it. In fact, it looks like the trend has went a little bit further down for, I guess, a significant outbreak of severe weather as far as tornadoes and things like that. But we're going to talk about what we do know because it does look like a very active week, and we're going to take a peek into the first several days of May, as we're starting to get kind of some guidance on what may happen. Looks like an active start till May. Right now is peak severe weather season for a big portion of the country, like the Deep South. It's been very quiet. You know, we had an event yesterday that produced some severe storms. Nothing crazy. There was some reports of, I think there was a report of a tornado or two in Georgia. But it wasn't an outbreak by any means, no deaths or anything like that. But so we're going to talk about what we do know. If you guys have not subscribed, consider doing that. I've had a little bit of increase in coverage here in the last several days. There for a while, there really wasn't much growth at all, which is okay. When it's slow, it's just slow. But it's weather; it always pick back up. So I got a new mic, so I might sound a little better audio-wise. I'm going to continue to get a better setup for you guys. So thank you all for tuning in. So let's get going with this. So the Storm Prediction Center, here it is at day 3. There's nothing really inside day 3, but day 3 is Tuesday into Wednesday. You've got this big area of slight Texas into Oklahoma into parts of Kansas. So what you got going on, it's a pretty common setup. You just have an upper trough that's digging here in New Mexico, and it gets going. It fires up an a lower level jet here, and it gets going. So winds start howling in the upper atmosphere. You get thermodynamics that surge up here, and it pulls up dew points. So basically a moist flow with this lower level jet that really pumps out here. So you got the chance for basically all severe hazards are on the board. An outbreak, I don't see it yet, but this has a chance to trend higher. We're already in the NAMS kind of ballpark here. We're not quite in the HRRR model runs yet. We will be this time tomorrow, so we'll get to get a better idea of what's going on here. As far as areas further east, yeah, I cannot talk today, I guess. This same system may work its way into the weekend, but it's going to be very slow. There's not going to be much forcing with this. It's just going to take its time. Basically, Southeast Ridge is going to try to build here, and this system is going to be very slow. So there could be severe weather right here. There could be some kind of system into the southeast this coming weekend, but there's definitely a unknown with this when it comes to any further east. It's already very complicated forecast for areas in the Texas area and things like that. And some kind of dry line has a chance to form. There's going to be a cap in place, which a cap in place means basically a boundary in the upper atmosphere that doesn't allow updrafts to really explode past a certain point in the atmosphere. So when that happens, basically you can't get storm development. You have all the ingredients in place for storm development, but you have a cap preventing it. When you have a cap that's not super strong, but it's still pretty strong, basically you can get rogue supercells and become a supercell mode kind of setup. So you don't have a real messy setup, a bunch of convection flying everywhere. You have a few individual cells, kind of like what we have Friday evening. We had some of the most photogenic tornadoes I've seen this year. So maybe a setup like that, but we'll watch. So this is kind of what we got going here. Notice the height anomalies. This is basically your upper trough digging right here. Lower level jet pops up right here and gets going at the base of this trough. And that's pretty much how you get severe weather. This kind of gets going here. What happens here? Does it turn into kind of a low pressure that digs through here and delivers, I don't know, maybe a chilly rain for this time of year as we get into the first part of May? We'll have to watch. We're not sure what this is going to do. You notice here, you'll see the, let me back it up. I'm going a little too fast. So you notice right here the low level jet gets going here, right into here as you get into Tuesday into Wednesday. So you get a flow here. Also, you gotta see when these storms are going to fire up. Is it going to be after daylight? You know, it's a lot to still figure out, and we're already decently close. I was actually thinking about chasing this setup here, but I won't. Financially, I'm not at a point where I could just. I'm not a full-time storm chaser. Basically, is what I'm trying to say. So it's hard really to just leave in any old event, basically. So I have to pick and choose the best events to go out to. And this one has definitely kind of not trended any better for severe weather. It's kind of trended, it's downtrended as far as severe weather. But there's your lower level jet pumping out ingredients for severe weather. It'll bring in ingredients. You got a cape and everything like that. So here we go. We're going to look at this really quick here. So one thing we can look at is we can look at the NAM. We're in the NAM's ballpark, and we see what happens here. We get into Monday. There could be some storms Monday evening, tomorrow. But as we get into Tuesday, there's going to be a lot of convection around, according to the NAM here in Texas. But as you get a little further in time, still a lot of convection around, according to this. But check out these little rogue cells that start popping up. And you get into later in the overnight hours. This is Wednesday at 04Z, so this is basically Tuesday late evening getting into Tuesday morning. You start to get some cells develop. Very odd time. So will this be at night? Is this going to be favorable for chasing? Who knows? We're not sure. It's going to be interesting what the long range HRRR model shows for this. But there you go. There's the kind of individual cells. Check out this one at the corner of New Mexico and Texas. Any of these can produce huge hail and tornadoes. So we have to watch out here. You look at this real quick. You can tell where the dry line sets up, and you can tell where there's a boundary of more stable air, dry air, and moist air where the cape is setting up. So you have this pretty much a small slither of surface-based cape of between 1,000 and 2,000, and it builds here. It kind of fluctuates and moves depending on where the surface low kind of is, and basically where it's going to be digging. So in time, we'll try to figure out where basically the dry line is going to set up and where discrete supercells can really explode here. And here's the dry line. Looking at dew points, man, it always just mesmerizes me when I check out these dew points and these dry lines out here out west. But check out Amarillo sitting at a dew point of 6 late tomorrow night into Tuesday morning. But this dry line is going to fluctuate. And basically, if you're on the east side of the dry line, there's a chance you could have a big-time supercell to explode and pop off. See, this is right around where it's showing the supercell right in here. And the dry line's pushed back west. So a supercell kind of, let's see if we go back to 05Z on the radar here. Look, so this is the dry line's right here. And you have a cell popping off right here just east of the dry line. So this is how it works here. So they like to form right where there's a switch up in atmospheres, basically. So as you're going through here in time, we get past this event and we start to look at the GFS. We'll show the GFS first. This is the energy that's going to pump out severe weather and portions of the south central U.S. What is this going to do as it gets further east into the week? So I'll try to figure that out. This kind of shows like a low pressure digging all the way into the Gulf. And basically you're going to need this thing to be further north to deliver severe weather. So right now it's digging pretty low. You look at the same thing with a European model. It's a little bit different. So we need to figure out what's going to go on. If you go farther in time here, though, check this out. Let's look at this really quick. Look what happens as you get into May. This has severe weather, a severe weather look all over it. You basically got an upper trough cut off completely. You're going to have some kind of low-level jet forming right here, and this is definitely a look for severe weather here. It's just totally lost from the mainstream of energy, and if this was to happen, this would be a severe weather outbreak. So, and this is the first several days in May, and you can look at it off the 850s here and really see where there it is right there. And look at the winds screaming in the upper atmosphere. So you got a lot in place, a lot of wind energy in place. So dew points, you can look at the dew points and tell. Look at the surge north of dew points in the 60s, right to this area right here. So there's some dynamics in place right into here for some more severe weather. But tell you what, as far as severe weather in the Carolinas, this time last year was a lot more active. We were already talking about multiple severe weather events. It's been pretty quiet. So we'll see what happens when we get into May. As we start to get later into May, like mid to late May, you start to kind of get away from prime severe weather season. So, we'll continue to watch to see what happens here. I do want to show you one last thing. Y'all bear with me as my computer wants to take 7 years to load, but we'll try to watch this, see what happens. But this is basically the GFS off Tropical Tidbits, and this kind of shows you precipitation associated with the event that's going to hit Texas. How will this kind of affect here? One thing I'm watching here, 12Z GFS showed the same thing. Is this going to be some homegrown tropical activity? Basically, is this low pressure going to kind of stall out right here and maybe pop off some kind of tropical? I doubt it, but it'll be interesting. We've seen this in May before. Basically, these stalled fronts form a tropical system, and it'll be interesting because if something stalls here, it'll pump out a lot of rain for the Gulf Coast. So we'll see how that happens here. And this is the same energy associated with the severe weather event. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here. Going forward, you can look at that energy. I passed it here, but is this something right here got severe weather look to it? It's kind of hard to figure out. We're getting later in the year, guys. So severe weather season, the peak, depending on where you are location-wise, begins to steadily shift north and northwest. So where the jet stream on average is positioned more on average, more north. So we'll continue to figure out what's going to happen with this. And honestly, not a ton going on here in the immediate southeast. It's actually going to be pretty quiet until we figure out what that system to our west is going to do. So y'all stay weather aware, and I'll keep y'all up to date. Thanks for tuning in.